This is a tale of two sea officers, Rory Dunbrody, midshipman, born in North Carolina and raised in Ireland, and Tobias St. John, master's mate, born into slavery in Antigua, freed, educated by Quakers in New Bedford, and then a whaler before his U.S. Navy service. The story began in the mind of Les Eldridge in 1975, as he taught maritime history in Washington colleges. History has largely forgotten that tens of thousands of men from the lowest social orders of the 19th century, Irish and African Americans, risked their lives in frontline naval conflict during the American Civil War. Few students of the Civil War realize that black sailors comprised 30% of Union ship crews, and that Irishmen filled almost half the billets aboard many Confederate raiders. What a time to serve at sea! This war saw the first submarines, armored ships, and revolving turrets used in battle. Torpedoes and floating mines first sank ships during this conflict, when sailors learned to serve aboard both steamships and sail-driven craft. The first large-scale amphibious landing occurred during this war between the states. At war's beginning, officers who had served together in the U.S. Navy as friends, as brothers, found their friendships torn apart as they fought each other at sea. The sea shanties sung together over glasses of wine in the wardroom became poignant memories. What if two such sea officers, best friends, one Irish, the other black, found themselves on opposite sides of the conflict? This scenario unfolds in the pages of The Chesapeake Command, a nominee for the Michael Shara Award for Excellence in Civil War Fiction. Shipwreck, Indian raids, and the threat of war with Great Britain confront Rory and Tobias in the Pacific Northwest on the eve of the Civil War. In 1859, Great Britain and the USA are at odds over possession of remote San Juan Island. Rory and Tobias are serving in the elite U.S. Coast Survey, one of the finest cartographic organizations in the world. They are aboard the U.S. Coast Survey ship Active and are thrust into the dispute as it escalates into an armed confrontation, threatening a war with Britain just as the fabric of the Union is being torn apart. Rory is assigned to keep an eye on hot-headed George Pickett, a Southerner who commands U.S. troops ranged against the Royal Navy on San Juan Island. Only deft diplomacy and behind-the-scenes contact with the British save the day and keep the peace. Then, Hawaiian Hudson's Bay Company shepherd Kele Kalama, a former whaler, joins Rory and Tobias in thwarting Haida Indian raids. Next, the advent of civil war separates the friends. Kele remains in the Pacific. Tobias, now a Union sailing master, and Rory, a Confederate Navy lieutenant, encounter the enemy and one another in New Orleans, on the Carolina coasts, and in Chesapeake Bay. Tobias, on his way to his new assignment as a blockader at the mouth of the Mississippi, manages a brief stop at Ile de Saint near Guadeloupe to visit his childhood love, the beautiful Monique. Rory, meanwhile, serves under Captain Semmes, later commander of the Alabama. He is captivated by Carrie Ann, a gorgeous Southern woman of inquiring mind and strong opinion. The fact that she is betrothed leads him to a deadly duel at New Orleans' Dueling Oaks killing ground. In Grey Raider's Green Seas, the second novel, we meet Admiral Frank DuPont as he captures Port Royal with Tobias as his sailing master. Tobias recruits freed slave Robert Smalls after the slave pilot delivers a Confederate cruiser to DuPont. Rory takes his armed tug behind enemy lines in a desperate attempt to rescue a lost Confederate infantry company on Virginia's eastern shore. Tobias is sent on an espionage mission by Secret Service Chief Alan Pinkerton and escapes with a prize in tow. Rory saves the rebel ironclad Virginia from destruction by USS Monitor, and then joins Confederate cavalryman John Mosby on a scout of U.S. Army positions. Master's mate Keikoa Kalama, Kele's son, joins Tobias on blockade off the Cape Fear River. Tobias's ship is wrecked on Frying Pan Shoal, and Tobias is unjustly blamed, enduring a wrenching and destructive court-martial. Rory is assigned to Liverpool to acquire and arm rebel raiders. He visits his home in Connemara, where he learned to sail, and he visits Downpatrick, where he learned to ride like the wind.
The smartest clipper you can find, the ho-way, ho, you most done.
As they face the challenges of storm and the enemy afloat and ashore, they struggle to keep their friendship intact. Every day they must overcome the bias and disdain of a few of their fellow officers as they strive to build their reputations for courage and resourcefulness. All hands, stand by for the final two novels of the Civil War, Wake of the Woonsocket, available in 2008, and The Pride of Pascagoula, scheduled for 2009. Subsequent novels of the later 19th century in the navies of the world will be forthcoming. For more information, go to www.eldridgeseasaga.com.
With noisily or unnamed day, clear away the track and let the bull giant run. When we stowed our freight on the West Street Pier, ho-way, ho, are you most done?